All right, FightHype.com here. Nick Noonan with Isaac Hardman. Isaac, some saying the most vicious knockout tonight was from yourself. You predicted it. Tell us a bit about your fight.
Most vicious, definitely. And it's no surprise for me and Blair and my team. And we knew we were going to knock Jamie out, and he claimed to be a walk-up fighter. And I said I'm a walk-up fighter too. And when two people walk up to each other and throwing 10-ounce gloves around, someone's getting laid out on their back. So happened to be Jamie Weetch on the night, just like we said and predicted, and it was beautiful.
Mate, a lot of talk yesterday in the weigh-in. What was that all about? He stuck the finger up.
Cheeky little buggy, he got me. We did the weigh-in and he offered his hand to shake, and I went to shake it and he pulled it away and flipped me the bird, which just fucking wound me up. And I wanted to just lunge at him right there and then just a little bit of extra fuel to the fire. And you know, it's all playful, I guess, but it really pissed me off and just made me want to smash him even more. So
you said in camp that you'd send his toes pointing to the sky. Yeah. Did you actually think tonight that you got the knockout probably a little earlier than what? When were you really thinking that you were going to start to work him?
Yeah, no, I did predict the knockout because he was meant to be tough. He'd never been finished, never been dropped, never been finished. So Dennis Hogan took him 12 rounds, couldn't do the damage I did, and I did feel like I would get at least 4 or 5 rounds out of Jamie Weetch, and you know, he had a bit of funny rhythm to start with. I felt like it would take a while for me to catch up to that rhythm, and then until I started landing my shots. And I always knew when I started landing my shots that he wouldn't like it and he'd stop walking up. But I didn't think it would come that early, and you know, it's always a shot you don't load up on. Blair always tells me, you know, not every punch has to be a winner. So, and the punch I threw when he was coming in, and we've practiced that sort of frame off with our lead hand and then throw the right hand over and over, and it just worked like we were hitting pads. And when I actually hit him with that shot, I thought he had slipped. That's how clean that shot was on his chin.
No,
and
he didn't.
Blair said the sound of that thud was like a baseball hitting the cow's hide. So, you know, it was a great shot, and I'm glad I got the job done.
Mate, what was it like tonight? Because obviously you headed the undercard of the Big Horns, who, you know, 16,000 people, biggest stage that you've ever been on.
Yeah.
You've gone into the promotion predictor and sort of, you know, stole the show of the most vicious knockout. How does that feel?
Yeah, 13,000 people.
There was more.
More. So co-main event at like an open air stadium. It's incredible, and for the promotional team to have the faith in me to be the co-main event, and warm the crowd up for Tim Tszyu Horn. You know, it's a feather in my coach's cap, feather in my cap as well. And you know, I walked in there with Blair before the crowd got there, and I stood in the the ring, and I looked at Blair. I said, I could go bigger. Let's go to MGM. You know, this is not daunting to me. So it was a great stadium, and I felt awesome, but it wasn't overwhelming by any means, and it was great.
Yeah, because obviously this fight was played back to America in the early hours of this morning, and you know, I've seen a little bit of stuff online and people talking about what is such a vicious knockout from you. Where to now for you and your team? So, you know, you're sort of solidifying yourself as probably one of the, if not the most heaviest puncher you could be in the 160 division. What do you want to do now? You're 7-0. What's next?
I've got a list. The matchmaker, we've sent the list. Blair's, we've masterminded.
Who's on the list?
Anyone in front of me. There's Iman Carlos, Mark Lucas. There's Michael Zafra's ranked in that list. I know he's probably on to bigger and better things, but there's people on that list that could take the fight. I know a few of them from Victoria at the moment, being COVID and all that sort of stuff. But there's a list, and you got to tidy up your own backyard before you go on to bigger and better things, and that's what I did in MMA, and that's what I want to do in boxing. Clean up the backyard, be the best here in Australia, and then we can take off and make all the money over at Madison Square Garden in New York. So
if an opportunity arose, you know, I know it's tough with these pandemic time, but next year, you know, if something came up with a DAZN or a Golden Boy or you know, or anyone, you'd go over and give it a crack? Absolutely,
100%. That's like the pinnacle. That's why you get into boxing, is to be over in the States. Like, yes, Australian boxing is in healthy hands at the moment with the likes of, you know, the Maloneys and Jai Bhatia and, You know, Jeff Horn, yes, he sort of re-sparked Australian boxing, but now Tim Tszyu, the passing of the torch. You know, it's in healthy hands, but all these guys here in Australia get into boxing and they want to be the best over in the States. That's where the cream is over there in the States. So if I get a sniff over in the States, we are getting on the plane and we're going to bang out all the Yanks. You know, Aussie kid over there, young, 24 years old. It's happening.
What do you think? Obviously, and you know, we've got to admit, your prediction tonight was Tim Tszyu. Was it for points or knockout?
I did say I think Tim would stop him, and I've done a lot of rounds in the last 5 weeks with Tim. And
did you see tonight when you went through the sparring with Tim Tszyu? Did you see the exact stuff? Because Tim's actually rated his performance tonight not a great performance, and he's going back to training on Monday and he wants to improve. Do you see the similarities from his sparring to tonight?
I think you're always your worst critic, like yourself, and like Tim will critique himself quite hard. But I think he I sat with Blair and sort of watched that fight, and a lot of the inside stuff are like, you know, that's what he come to me for, because you know, I am a wrestler and I've done all the MMA stuff and the inside work. That's, you know, we sort of could see what the sparring sort of emulated the fight, or vice versa. We did a lot of inside stuff in sparring, and sure enough, that's what Horn did, come in and, you know, wrestled on the inside and clinched up, and it was sort of exactly like we thought it was going to be. Yeah, for sure. And Tim's so strong in there, and he wrestles quite well for a boxer, and he's obviously trained a little bit in it. Yeah, I thought Tim was going to win. I did say it, that he would win within the distance, and I think it's a young man's sport, and Jeff has had an incredible career. He's been a world champion. He's been at the top of the sport, and all credit to Jeff. He's an amazing athlete, and he did spark Australian boxing back. You know, he gave us that kick up the arse that it desperately needed.
Does he retire now?
I think so, yeah. I think so. It was like a make or break fight. And the same like with my fight in regards to Weetch. I think like you make it, you beat the young guy, and it's like, yes, I still got a bit in the tank. I can go, hey, let's do the one last. For Jeff, let's get the last world title fight. But he come up short tonight in a great fight. It was competitive. Like, he didn't look outclassed. Yeah, I think he sits down and just relaxes with these girls and enjoys the fruits of his hard labour. That he deserves to relax. Now, he's done you know, amazing job in Australian boxing.
And for those who don't know, obviously this fight, you know, we're in a state where certain states aren't allowed to come in here. You sold out 2 cinemas back home tonight. All the fans back in Chermside, Brisbane. It was 2 cinemas, wasn't it?
2 full cinemas of 60 people at Chermside, yeah. So
on the big screen? On
the big screen, it would have been sick. I wish I was there, but I had to go out and fight. But, you know, they probably didn't get their money's worth, but hey, that's what it is. But yeah, 2 cinemas back in Chermside, in Stafford, which is incredible. Just, you know, it's again a feather in our caps. You know, me and Blair's caps. People want to support us, and they go to the cinema to watch the fights. It's friggin' awesome. What
will you do now? You'll take a little bit of time off, or you're pretty keen to keep active?
It was 2 minutes 20. You know, I did such a big camp for that. It was so strenuous, and and like I thought we would get at least 4 or 5 rounds. I knew I was going to stop him, but I thought it was going to be 4 or 5 rounds, and I was looking forward to feeling like how fit I was going to be. But it's 2 minutes 20, so
it's because you've done it again. You've done it a few times in your career.
Yeah, so
when given an opportunity, you just put them straight to sleep.
And we steal the show. That's what we do over this side. But I'm going to eat some food, celebrate with my coach, have a barbecue. He smokes some decent meat, so hopefully we can entice him to do that for us. But I know Jai Bataille is fighting in October, hopefully, and maybe again there's another fight, maybe December. So October's about 5-6 weeks away. We could do that if the opponent is right and the opportunity is right. Of course, you drop everything to do it, because that's what I'm doing. Like, this is what life is about at the moment. It's boxing, so you put other things aside. So if there's an opponent and it makes sense within 5 weeks, we're going. Let's go. If not, we push it back to December and hopefully get another fight before the end of the year.
Too easy, right? All right, where's everyone find you on your Instagram, your Facebooks, whatever? We don't do Twitter here in Australia.
We don't do Twitter. I got a Twitter, but it's I don't know how to use it. All you Americans love Twitter. I don't. Hardman box the Instagram. I got a fucking 1,000 followers over within the last 2 hours, which is awesome. So get at me on that. Head Split Hardman on Facebook. Follow the journey. Keep supporting. It means the world to me just to have all these guys, all you guys supporting my journey and just watching.
Yeah, any last shout outs to anyone, mate? You want to give a special
Blair
shout out?
Studley means the world to me. My beautiful partner Javille, the boys. Nitro in itself as a gym. Get there if you're in Brisbane, Chermside, $25 a week. Come and train with me. My sponsors: Roadie Meats, Franz, Hydroponics, Webcon, Rip It Up Flooring with Paul Cross. You guys are amazing. That's what I do it for. Thank you for supporting me.
No worries, brother. All right, we'll take. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, but we don't stop here at FightHype.com. And we'll tune in soon, mate. And hopefully some big news for your future fights for the rest of the year.
Thanks, guys.